Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope everyone is doing good. So, welcome to last video of this chapter, that is inheritance and variation. So, we have completed the Mendelian genetics, then new Mendelian genetics, then we discussed about various examples in the new Mendelian genetics, then we moved on to chromosomal theory of inheritance. Then after that, we discussed about the X chromosome, Y chromosome, the sex-linked disorders, both on X and Y, mostly X. In the previous video, we discussed about the X-linked disorders, which were color blindness, hemophilia. Okay. Now in today's video, the last topic is about genetic disorders. Basically, this genetic disorders, we are going to have certain examples, which we are going to discuss under the heading of genetic disorders: thalassemia, Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, and Klinefelter syndrome. Okay. So let's just understand first what is this genetic disorder. Basically, this is a general term. We were discussing about color blindness, and we were also discussing about hemophilia. Those are also genetic disorders, but there's a difference. There was a mutation in a particular gene. Okay, so there was a point mutation. Let's say this was let's say chromosome number 1, and there was a mutation at a particular location in the chromosome. But here, the genetic disorders that we will be studying, those are basically chromosomal disorders, wherein there will be either addition of an extra chromosome, like this you can see, 21. Okay. Okay. So here you can see, for example, 21 chromosomes. So there will be only 2 copies of all the chromosome, right? But here you can see extra addition of a chromosome, right? So here, as you can see, there is an additional copy of 21st chromosome. So in this genetic disorder, what we are going to see is disorders which are resulted due to addition or deletion of number of chromosome. Okay, the previous genetic disorders that we were discussing were regarding point mutation. Okay, so now we move to the first example. First example. Okay. Before that, we will in general understand the genetic disorders. Okay. So let's just display the first point. So let's begin with the introduction of genetic disorders a bit detail, and then we move to the examples. So genetic disorders broadly can be classified into, as I just gave you the briefing, Mendelian disorders or chromosomal disorders. Okay. So what about Mendelian disorders? Basically, these are due to the alteration or mutation in the gene. As I told you, a specific gene. Let's say, for example, on chromosome 11, the gene which is responsible to make RBC. Okay, or the gene which is responsible to make the hemoglobin protein, which is required to make the RBC. Okay, so we studied in hemophilia, in sickle cell anemia, right? Thalassemia, sickle cell anemia, color blindness, phenylketonuria. These were the examples. One thalassemia that we will be seeing it right now. Remaining we have seen in the previous video. Okay, wherein there is a defect or there is an alteration or a mutation. Okay, that is the normal gene got altered and some abnormal gene is now there, which will express the phenotype of that particular gene. So these were the examples that we saw. Now what we are going to see in detail is the chromosomal disorders, wherein this is the absence or excess of one or more chromosomes. So there will be, let's say, a chromosome number 5. So 2 copies of 5 should be there, chromosome number 5 in a particular cell. but there might be due to some mutation or some the cell the parent cell was not able to divide properly during mitotic division or meiotic division. So it resulted into either an extra copy of the chromosome, or instead of two, only one copy was there in the cell of that particular chromosome. So absence or excess of one or more chromosome, or their abnormal arrangement, okay, then we will call it as chromosomal disorders. Both are genetic disorders, but the only difference is here there is a problem in the gene, and here there is a problem because of the addition or deletion of any copy of chromosome, any chromosome from 1 to 22, or for that matter, sex chromosome. So here we will see Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, and Klinefelter syndrome as examples. Okay, so first we will see thalassemia. Okay, before that, let's just understand certain terminologies. These terminologies we have already discussed in the previous video, where we were discussing about ploidy, but once again we will go over here. So chromosomal disorders can be broadly classified into aneuploidy and polyploidy. What happens over here is, so basically the disorders caused due to absence or excess of abnormal arrangement of one or more chromosome. What happens in aneuploidy? Gain or loss of chromosome. Okay, aneuploidy will be either gain, okay, addition or subtraction, minus of chromosome due to failure of proper separation of chromatids during cell division. So at the time of cell division, there was not proper segregation of equal number of chromosomes to both the daughter cells. Okay, so let's say they are deployed a number of the cell first duplicates its genetic material, and then it's give equal amount of chromosome to the daughter cell. Let's say this division was not proper. So this here it had 2n stage. So one daughter one daughter cell received only one copy, and the other received 3 copies. So this is unequal division. So there was some failure, some problem in the separation of the chromatids during the cell division. What happens in polyploidy? In this, a whole set of chromosome increases due to a failure of cytokinesis after the telos phase stage of the cell division. Okay, whole set means what? You have a diploid number of chromosome. Okay, and then this can be when once this diploid chromosome duplicates, it's 4n, and this 4n is as it is the how many parents, how many daughter cells will be formed from this parent cell? Okay, 2 daughter cells. Okay, so it should be 2n 2n, but it might happen that this whole 4n can get transferred to one of the daughter cells, and the another daughter cell receives nothing like that. So increase in the whole set of chromosome due to the failure of proper division of the cytoplasm after the telophase stage of the cell division. So these are the 2 types. Okay, we will see the terminologies, as in how many number of chromosome, pair of chromosome, which you need to know to understand the diseases of the example that we are going to see. So first is nullisomy. You can see what happens in this 2n minus n. So you have a total set of chromosome in a cell that should be 2n. In that -2, a chromosome pair is lost from the diploid set. So 2 chromosomes are running short, is less. In that case, you will say nullisomy. What type of aneuploidy it is? Nullisomy. Then monosomy. Mono means single. So one set of chromosome is lost. A chromosome is lost from the diploid set. यहाँ पे a chromosome pair, so 2. यहाँ पे only one chromosome is lost from this diploid set. 2n minus 1, so monosomy. Okay, for example, 2n you had 22. 22 number of autosomes. So -1, what is the result? Only 21 chromosomes are there. Here only 20 chromosomes will be there in the daughter cells. Okay. Then trisomy +1. A chromosome is added to the diploid set. So normal is 22. Normal is what? 22. You do +1. So what becomes 23? So this is abnormal. Normal is 22 pairs of autosomes should be there, but in trisomy, 1 pair will be extra. Tetrasomy +2. So 2 chromosomes are added. So this will become 23 + 1, 24 to tetrasomy. 2n plus 2. Okay, so these are the terminologies that you need to by heart, you need to know: nullisomy, monosomy, trisomy, and tetrasomy. The first two are deletion and loss of a chromosome, and the latter two are the addition of chromosome. Okay. Now we move to the first only this one example regarding Mendelian disorders, thalassemia. You just need to know briefly about this. What is thalassemia and what are the symptoms of thalassemia? So it is an autosomal disease. Okay. Uh, Earlier diseases that we discussed, color blindness, hemophilia, those were sex-linked disorders. Okay, those were sex-linked inheritance. So if the allele was, recessive or defective, then it resulted into those sex-linked disorders. This is what autosomal. Okay, from 1 to 22 number of chromosomes we are discussing. Inherited recessive disease. So if the both the alleles are recessive, then the person for thalassemia, then the person might get this condition. What happens in thalassemia? This is the normal red blood cell. Okay, in thalassemia, the function, the shape of the red blood cells will be very different. You can see malformed red blood cells means a very distorted shape will be there. A slightly different from sickle cell anemia. In sickle cell, proper, there is this sickle cell shape. Here the shape is much more distorted, and so more or less it is the similar condition which happens in sickle cell anemia. The function will be the same because here we are talking about the hemoglobin only. Okay, so we in hemoglobin and sickle cell anemia, we saw that hemoglobin is made up of these two chains, right? Alpha and beta. So alpha has two parts and beta has two parts, right? So in thalassemia, there is some problem in the formation of the hemoglobin molecule. So ideally, this is the way the hemoglobin should be formed. The chromosome from chromosome 16, alpha chains will be formed, and from chromosome 11, beta chains will be formed. And both two beta chains and two alpha chains come together to make up the hemoglobin molecule. And if then this hemoglobin molecule is responsible to make our normal red blood cells. Okay, but if a person is thalassemia, then this hemoglobin molecule will not be made properly. There will be some mutation in the genes which codes for hemoglobin on chromosome 16 or 11, and then it will result into some different shape of incomplete formation of the hemoglobin shape, which will result into non-functional hemoglobin. And as a result, non-functional or malfunctioned red blood cells. Fine. What are the symptoms of thalassemia? A person will show similar symptoms like, anemia, pale yellow skin, change in the size and shape of the RBC. Growth and development will be slow, darker urine. These will be the symptoms that will be seen in a person who is suffering from thalassemia. In this case, the treatment will be massive blood transfusion is required to these patients because it's a genetic disorder. Okay, so the amount of blood needed to compensate, okay, will be very high. Right. So this is about thalassemia. In brief, you should be knowing about this. Nothing in detail, no crossover here to remember. Now we move to the chromosomal disorder. In that, first we are discussing about Klinefelter's syndrome. Now, Klinefelter's is basically the presence of an additional copy of X chromosome. Presence of additional copy of X chromosome in males. In males. Okay, how many copy of X chromosome is there in males? One X and one Y, right? This is the sex chromosome of a male. But what happens in Klinefelter? This XY turns into 2X, additional copy of the males. So now the condition is in Klinefelter 2X and 1Y. So what will happen? Feminized male. So you will see more characters of females in this person, right? So the constitution will be the autosomes are normal, that is 22 pairs. Number will be 44 autosomes, but the abnormal sex chromosome will be there. Okay, instead of 46, there will be an addition 47. Instead of 46, additional X, was added, right, to the sex chromosome. So now it became 47 chromosome. So this is the condition of Klinefelter syndrome. What happens? Features overall masculine development. The individual will be a masculine, but what will happen? Feminine development will also be there. It will overpower. Development of breasts will be there. The male will look more like of a female. Okay. So this will be also expressed. One of the major condition, manifestation in this disease is this disorder is that the male will be sterile. Sterile means what? Because he is having two eggs and only one Y, so he will not be able to produce sperms properly. Okay, that is, he will not be able to bear a child in future because of this abnormality. So either he is no complete male, no complete female. So a mixture of both the two. So sterile. Fine. And he is mentally retarded. So individual suffering from Klinefelter syndrome is mentally retarded. Okay, that is very slow or no development of the central nervous system, brain, and spinal cord. Fine. So this is the Klinefelter syndrome that you need to know. You need to know the condition, what happens, addition or deletion. What is the chromosome state of Klinefelter syndrome? That is 44A plus XXY, which results into 47 chromosomes. So an additional copy of X chromosome in males. And these are the symptoms that you need to know in general. Now we move to the Down syndrome. It is also known as Mongolism. What happens in Down syndrome? Presence of an additional copy of chromosome number 21. So Klinefelter was addition of one X chromosome in the sex chromosome. Here autosome mein number 21, 21st chromosome additional copy. So 21st chromosome should be on all the chromosome as you see. They should be in two pairs. Sorry, one pair, that is two. But in 21st you will see what? 3. Okay, so then it results into trisomy of 21. So in this condition, the condition is known as Down syndrome. Fine. So autosomes will be, instead of 44 abnormal number of autosomes, that is 1 increase 47. Okay, and then either X in case of females and XY in case of males. So again here the total number will be 47 instead of 46. What will be the symptoms or features of this individual suffering from Down syndrome? Short height, small round head. Okay, the tongue will have a cavity, it will be furrowed, and most of the time the mouth will be open, the saliva will be drooping out. You might have seen some person, suffering from Down syndrome. They have very short height. Palm is broad and characteristic palm crease. They have a lot of crease in their palms and broad palms they have. Right. Overall development is very slow and very retarded. Okay, that is what we mean by retarded physical and mental development. Okay, psychomotor and mental development. And also they might suffer from congenital heart disease because physically and mentally their development is quite delayed and retarded. So they might suffer from some of the major diseases like congenital heart disease. Okay, that is because their heart is not properly developed. Then we move to the last syndrome, that is Turner syndrome. What happens in Turner syndrome? Absence of one of the X chromosome in females. Here you can see females should have how many chromosomes? Sex chromosome 2X, right? X and X. But here you see Y is present. Circle is given over there. So absence of one of the X chromosome. Absence of one of the X chromosome in females. So what will happen? Genetic constitution will result into autosomes are normal, 44 autosomes are there, that is 22 pairs of autosomes are there. But instead of 2X, 1X is missing. 1X is missing. So instead of 2X, this X is not there. It's missing. Okay, it's lost or absent. Right? So total number of chromosomes instead of 46, how many do they have now? One less, that is 45. Okay. Again, here the female will be sterile, just like in Klinefelter syndrome, where in addition of sex chromosome, X chromosome in the males resulted in sterility. Similarly, females also will not be reproductively active, so they will be sterile. Ovaries will be non-functional, will be of no use. They will be rudimentary. They will not function. So egg formation, menstrual cycle, all this will be absent in that particular female. Lack of other secondary sexual characters will also not be there because only one X chromosome is there. So half of the characters, like secondary sexual characters of that particular female will not be there. The female will more or less look like a dwarf. So these were the three examples that we saw: Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, Down syndrome. Okay, two were due to addition. Out of that, one was due to the addition of sex chromosome in males, X chromosome in males. The next one was addition of 21st chromosome autosomes, Down syndrome, and here Turner syndrome in females. There is loss or absence of another X chromosome. So the condition is 45 chromosomes only. So, and obviously they are mentally retarded. So these are the features that we need to know in case of Turner syndrome. So that's all for this video. We are done with this chapter. So this was the last topic of this chapter. Now in the next video, we'll begin with the next chapter. So keep revising, keep taking notes, and come up with your doubts in the live class. See you. Bye bye. Thank you. Take care.